Welcome to the Savvy Radio Show with your host, the Savvy Landlord. Up next is the best deal ever. On Fridays, check out all episodes on SavvyRadioShow.com.
Fabulous Friday, and I got a fabulous friend. Man, this is a deal. We're chit-chat. I'm actually involved in this deal. That's not why we have this on the radio today. But wholesaling is on my mind. Roger Godwin, on fire wholesaler, just crushing it. And this was a unique deal that I think we got to get on the radio as soon as possible. And that's why I asked Roger to come back into the studio for the International Love 4-house package. All right, Roger, let's break this down. First of all, the cool thing is that you had tons of resources. You had an attorney involved. You had me involved. I love that you leveraged so much. A lot of people, they get into deals and I can't close it because of the HOA, which is I can't wait to get to that part of the story.
Oh man!
And I remember this deal that you got under contract was so just amazing, and then it had this caveat. Oh yeah, and then I got this condo that was worth piss, and then you like come back like a week later. I got it sold. I'm like, wow. And then you couldn't close on it because the HOA was jamming it up. So I don't want to get it all out in my. But so you got this 4-house package, smoking deal, 3 units on the northwest side. It's almost 5 units, right? Another house. So tell me about the deal, and then they're international. How do you know these people? How did you find this deal?
Yeah, so I had one of my contractors contact me and say, hey, I got a guy that I know out of Tulsa, and his father-in-law is trying to sell his houses here in Oklahoma City, and he's living in the Philippines.
Okay.
So got a hold of the son or the son-in-law out in Tulsa. He got me into the houses so we can get in there. Got me in touch with the property management company.
Okay, so how'd you know this guy? He was a friend? He's
a
contractor?
It was Honey. She's one of my contractors.
So, okay, this is a person that you work with that knew someone in Tulsa, or was it her family?
Just somebody she knew in Tulsa.
So this friend of yours knew somebody random in Tulsa that heard about. So one thing to take away, you got to have a network.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're crushing it, 16 deals already within a short amount of time, and so network. So you get the houses. Did you negotiate on the front end? How'd you get the keys just like that? I mean, did you get it under contract before you got the keys?
Well, we got into look at it. I did get the keys as soon as I had the contract done, but I had gone through and walked through, and you know my background with construction, so I can walk in and just know what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's again, if you're trying to get the wholesaling out there, the great thing about Roger Godwin's wholesaling consulting is that you kind of itemize the repairs, get the investor the full wind of the whole deal, so they're not guessing. And I think that's right. You basically create a report. And when you try to wholesale, so you get a house under contract, you figure out the finances, and you do a report. You say, this is going to take this, and hey, I'll contract it for you if you want me to.
If you want me to.
Cool. All right. So you got this deal. Tell me, and then they're in the Philippines, was it, how'd you negotiate? How'd you get it under contract?
Okay, so we had a guy that ended up actually being the investor's friend of his that was a realtor here in Oklahoma City. And he called me up and said, hey, I heard you want to buy these deals. So we started the negotiations with him because whenever we're awake, that dude's asleep and vice versa. Okay,
so there were all of a sudden there's a middle person involved and it's an actual licensed realtor.
Yes.
So now you're a wholesaler trying to beat him up on the price. Now you got to deal with a realtor. What was that like?
It was fine. He just did all the communication. The seller was the one that paid his commissions. I didn't pay anything to the commission.
So okay, cool. So his advantage is to get it sold.
Yeah,
because he's going to get some sliver of the money.
Yep.
What kind of margins? What kind of properties? What were they like?
So they're over by Ingrid's Kitchen, 36, and between May and Penn, and then
so hot
area.
Okay.
This next area is coming up. Coming out of Midtown. And then we got another one down on 22nd Street that Jessica was so kind to purchase that one, as well as another one on 36th. And then
sold one to Rockford too.
And sold one to Rockford too, and we're contracting that one.
So there was a house with a duplex on northwest side. There was a house on northwest side, and then there was another house on the northwest side.
Yeah.
And then a condo on the northwest side. So all these were all in relatively super hot areas.
Relatively, yep.
So what was ARV? How do you calculate the value of these properties and what you're going to sell them for?
So the first thing that I do is that if I see a property that looks like, I might be able to contact somebody and talk to them, what I do is I have a CMA done, and I got my guy Brian Telos with Spearhead. I got Stephanie with Keller Williams. They help me out with CMAs.
And how do you love on them? I mean, I know it's not easy to do a CMA. And the CMA is comparative
market analysis.
Right, so it takes labor to produce that. So how do you get people to do that?
So I
or realtors, per se.
Realtors. Just treat them kind, man. Starbucks goes a long way.
Okay.
For sure.
So love on them. Say, hey, do me a solid, and maybe they'll get a listing someday. Or
yeah. Well, and Stephanie, she actually brought me. She brought me another house I just actually sold. So she got the commission on that. So anytime you work with a realtor that helps you out, you make sure and treat them with love.
Good job.
Period.
Yeah, I mean, cool. We learned so much so far. So number one, we learned that you got to network to get deals. They don't just fall in your lap. Number two, you need to love on realtors because you're going to use them somewhere somehow.
Yep.
All right. So negotiate. You got two. So you got two realtors involved. You got one you're buying the property from. That's kind of now. Why didn't you? Of course, you don't want to ask him for a CMA. Then he'll know what the actual value was, or did he know what the value was that realtor that was helping the transaction?
None of these houses were even listed to be sold.
So considered a pocket listing.
Yeah.
Why didn't the guy list them?
I do not know. I didn't ask the question.
And you shouldn't, because then they'll get greedy.
They do. But, actually it was really strange because this guy, he had been in the Philippines for 10 years, and he came back, and he pulled all the houses out of sheriff's auction.
Oh, he originally bought these at a sheriff's auction.
No, he had to pull them back out because he'd been gone, and the property management company didn't take care of business and stuff like that.
Behind his taxes or whatever?
Whatever it was. And he came back, got it all taken care of the first of this year.
And then you went back to the Philippines. Like, why? Is he in business in the Philippines?
No, he's an old retired guy.
Just kicking it in the Philippines, living large.
He married a woman there, so he's like, meh, I'm staying.
Cool. Good for him.
And
so he had these assets. Did he have any more assets, or these are the ones he had?
Yeah, these are the 4 that he had. That's it.
So this guy had 4 houses that he wanted to sell. He was done living in the States. And then he had a friend that was a realtor. That realtor was not so keen, per se, because he could have probably got top dollar. So how'd you get the number down? Was there type of negotiating going on? So you got the CMAs. You're powered with what your retail side would be from your friendly realtor. Mm-hmm. And then you went back and negotiated with that realtor who then translated it or timetabled it to the Philippines. How did that process go? Was that frustrating, weird, awkward? What?
You got to have patience for sure.
So how long was that total time?
That total time, our negotiations took about a month to do.
Wow. I remember when you brought me the deal, and I was like, dude, this is hot. I was almost kind of like, man, can I get this? And when you gave me those addresses, like, dude, I already know who I can sell these to.
Yep, absolutely. You always know a guy.
And you were gracious to let me be involved, because I was like, man, I could make a couple $1,000s out of this deal. So that's cool. So the month-long negotiating, was there what was your shot? What was the ARV on your CMA? I know it's a long time ago.
The total ARV on them was, I believe, 380,000 on all of them.
Okay. And then what did they have an asking price?
No, they just said make an offer. So
I hate those.
Well,
and this time was your advantage.
Yeah.
So you beat them up with the construction?
I beat them up with the construction.
So what was your number that you threw out?
165.
Dang, 40%? I don't know. 145 you said?
Yep.
Okay, I'm writing this down. So 145. CMA, comparative market analysis, retail, blinged out, 380, 4 units. It's a deal, northwest side. Even those numbers sound fine.
Yep.
And you hit him with the 145, then what happened?
We went back, and he wanted 150 or something. So I went
$5,000.
I said, tell you what, how about 146, and we're done. It's like nobody else wants to buy all 4 of them.
Well, no one else knows about it, but I would buy them all for
Yeah, absolutely.
When I saw that package, I was like, except for the condo, but we'll get into the condo here.
Yeah. Oof, man, that condo.
But so let's just set it up a little bit. So you got these 3 seriously smoking hot units, actually 3 structures, with one of the structures having a garage apartment, which was hot in the center of the city, the hottest area in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
3, and then all of a sudden you got this bunk deal of a condo, and you knew you had to buy all 4. That was the contingency for the deal.
Yes, and we almost didn't close on the other 3 because he said, hey, I want all 4 of these things to close the same day, all that stuff.
So he wouldn't be caught with the bag.
Right.
And I remember you asking me about this condo, what can we do? And I'm like, I don't know, but hey, your profit, the condo was like $20,000?
The value of it?
No, like what'd you?
I got it for 10.
So 10. But overall, you knew that you could close the whole deal and just pay for the condo, and then your strategy was to hold the condo but sell it later to get your $10,000 assignment fees through all this process.
Right.
All right. So what do you mean it almost didn't close?
So they told me that, hey, we got all these 3 done. Title company, Old Republic, man.
The
Bomb.
Yep.
Kelsey and Pam, Robin, all those girls over there, wonderful.
Baritha.
ORT. But anyways, we got all these things put together, and man, Kelsey, dude, she called the HOA president, called the vice president.
Well, what happened?
Probably 30 times. Well, they said that, we need to have proof that all of these documents have been, all the documents of the checks that have been paid to the HOA for fees and all.
Okay, so let's back up. So there's a problem with. So you had all 3 of the other units, houses ready, title insurance ready, but you couldn't close the condo because there was a showing lien on the condo. So that's the problem. Yeah. That's why it didn't close.
Right.
And now we're going into ORT, the title company, fighting for you to get that cleared.
Yes.
And that's why you like Old Republic. And Kelsey was calling the calling the HOA people. Daily. And then what was the holdup? So the seller said he paid it.
Seller said he paid it. He showed us the documentation showing that he paid it through their QuickBooks. And all that we did is take that documentation to the HOA president and said, hey, here's the documentation. Take it to your treasurer and make this happen.
Right. And he said,
no.
Or she said, no. What? They said no.
They said no.
Why?
Because that's not proof. We need to have a check. Actually, this is like 2 weeks later after we gave them all that documentation. It's like, oh, this is all well and good.
What was the amount that we're talking about?
$2,400.
So $2,400 was jamming up a $380,000 potential deal.
Yeah.
$146,000 that you have lined up. So you had one investor that bought 2 units and another investor that was funded, ready to go at title company, but we couldn't close them because we over $2,400.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're like, what the F? Like,
yeah.
What am I going to do? I'm like, because my heart, I think I even said, hey, man, just pay the $2,400. But I think you slapped me.
No. Maybe a little.
He said, no way. I'm not paying. I've worked this hard. So then you present this to the HOA president, who's a volunteer.
Yeah.
And he said no.
Yeah.
So then what'd you do? So how'd you get this done?
He said he had to show proof. So it's okay. So now we're back talking to the guy out of the Philippines and say, okay, we need to have a copy of the check to show this idiot. So
again, this is days delay because you're dealing with this guy that's representing the seller who didn't even list them. So it's a pocket listing. Mm-hmm. He's somewhat motivated because he's going to get something out of it, but then he has to wait till midnight to communicate.
Yeah.
So he goes back and says, hey, Filipino guy or Philippines, where is the check? And then what happened there?
We had to wait. We waited almost 2 weeks to get something because they have to go to the embassy to do a documentation to show proof that you're a U.S. citizen and that you can do a power of attorney. So it's not just sending something. I mean, it's a whole ordeal on his side.
So that he couldn't log into his bank account and show the bill pay receipt?
Nope. So they had to do all that documentation, send it out to the bank, let the bank know, hey, my daughter can't, because they're doing the power of attorney for the daughter.
Who's here in the States?
So
the daughter's actually signing the documents to sell the property.
Right.
So that's another
person.
Hookup. So not only that there was a drama with the paying of the HOA that was jamming it up, but then you don't even have the guy he can't FedEx the documents and notarize them. So then he had to give permission to someone in the States to have representation to sign off on this sale.
Yes.
So that's one. Okay, man, Roger, you need to get this clear, man. You keep adding.
I know.
Dramatic. It's like as the world turns up.
Man, you just keep pushing through, man. I mean,
as a wholesaler.
I know, as a wholesaler, but being a contractor, man, I'm always dealing with problems. We just keep pushing through.
All right, so you got this one thing taken care of that this gal can represent the Filipino seller.
Yeah. Okay. So the
Philippines.
Finally got
that done. So that was kind of jamming you up during the same time we were trying to deal with the HOA people.
Yeah.
So did you finally get this document to prove that?
Finally got the document.
So then what happened? It didn't close though.
The guy decided they didn't want to close on it now. because we took too much time to do something, and so we were talking to...
Whoa. So let me get this straight. The seller tried to back out of the deal. So right now, on the table, you got 4 units that are worth almost 50% off. Mm-hmm. You got 2 investors that have funds and ready to go at closing. Mm-hmm. Title people have done the title work. Mm-hmm. This has been a couple-month deal?
Well, the single one was, we were able to still close the 3...
So you close up. So so you close those.
Yeah.
So now you're trying to get paid or not paid, but trying to finalize this deal.
Yep.
And before all this, you were worried about trying to sell this condo. Who bought the condo?
The current tenant bought it.
Wow, twists and turns like this is a movie. So then, how'd you sell that? How'd you do that? So I remember you went and looked at this thing, and it was a POS.
Oh man, it's terrible. It's horrible.
Like, what was wrong with it? Like bugs?
It painted black.
The house?
And blue. Yes,
inside?
On the inside. Bad carpet.
So is that why there was never no pictures on your Facebook page?
Oh, no. No way.
And so did you even try to market this condo?
No, I didn't.
So you knew that it wouldn't even sell?
No.
So how'd you convince the seller to come up with 20 G's?
Well, actually, we sold it for $12,500.
Oh, 12 grand.
Yeah,
Still.
12,500. Yeah.
People don't have 12 grand in their pocket.
It was worth $25,000, give or take. It's a single bedroom condo. But anyways, the lady told me she's in her late 50s. She's like, man, I just don't want to move. I did just cash out the CD, so I got the cash to be able to buy the property.
Lucky day.
You never know. I mean, amen. It was good.
So you convinced her to buy it. So you got to string this girl along. Mm-hmm. Then after you deal with, so you finally got the HOA, because I remember it was like weeks went by, you were dealing with the HOA, and I was like, this is pretty simple transaction to deal with. But that's why I don't buy condos.
I'm asking for an extra $5,000 off if I have to deal with an HOA from here on out.
True that.
Just pay
especially
for the attorney.
check for the lien. I mean, just do a title search real fast, build a relationship with ORT. But so then now the seller, so he's been funded. He got his cash on those other deals,
right?
And now you're like trying to finalize this deal, and the seller comes back and says, "Oh no, hell no, I'm not doing it." Mm-hmm. And so, wow.
Yeah.
Was there any money on the table at this time for you?
I had $12,500, or no, I had $2,500.
So $2,500 was your profit
My
potential
profit,
because you locked it up under $10,000.
Yeah.
So you got this condo under 10. You flipped it to the homeowner, which is rare, with black walls and blue trim,
and a lot of other problems,
and dramatic, and a condo with HOA fees that were not paid or were paid, and then your profit for $2,000. So you're fighting for $2,500 now.
Yeah.
What'd you profit on the other 3 deals? Do you remember?
Altogether, I think it's about $30,000.
30,000.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Because I know I got a little cheese on there.
Yeah, that's a little bit less than that.
Okay, so you already got your 30. This is like not even 10%, and you're still fighting it to the end of the. You're a real tried and true.
Well, I said I was going to do something, and I finished it.
That's right. I like that. There's not a lot of finishers out there. All right, so we're building up this anticipation of your next resource. The seller says, blank, no, I'm not selling it. What went through your mind?
You're going to sell it.
Were you pissed, angry?
No.
So you're like, no, you were just that overly confident. How many people have you sued before to execute a contract? I guess as a contractor, you've done this before?
Twice.
I always think it's fascinating because I buy property. I always think I always have an easy way out, right? Buyer beware. Like I know that it's really difficult to enforce a contract on someone if they don't have the money, right? Like right. I try to buy it. Okay, you can't beat them up to give you a check. I mean, you can do an enforceable contract. So what gave you the wits, or when did you bow down and said, hey, I'm going to hire an attorney?
Well, we were still in the middle of actually taking care of getting everything closed, and after we had the problems with the HOA not coming through, I hired Jackie Short.
Attorney, local attorney.
She is awesome.
Real estate local attorney out there, rookies. You need to build a relationship. She comes to the landlord lunch 15 minutes every month to give free advice, and I take it.
Come and see Jackie.
That's right. This episode will air after that, but then the following one, third Wednesday of every month, landlordlunch.com.
Yeah, Bill. She's a super help. So without Jackie, this wouldn't have happened. But
so $2,500. You were like, I'm going to lose this $2,500. Now, when you're negotiating, were you going through this realtor, and he would say, we're not going to close? Because he was translating for the guy or communicating for you?
Yeah, he was communicating for me. He said, well, he doesn't want to do it now because we took too long. But we had hired the attorney before that. I mean, just try to push this stuff through. So we went above and beyond to actually take on that responsibility to deal with the HOA and to get everything. So I was a little bit pissed whenever you said, no, I don't want to
Okay, so
sell it now.
you hired the attorney to do work with the HOA?
Yes.
Okay. So you hired the attorney because you couldn't get no traction with the HOA to prove that this $2,400 was paid off. So the seller said he paid it. I got documentation from my QuickBooks, whatever that means. I paid this. Now you're trying to prove to the president it's not good enough. You're getting no headway. You're like, I'm going to call a real estate attorney. You call her, and she's communicating now directly, like big bad attorney.
Well, with the HOA, yeah.
Okay, so then she finally gets that approved and gets the lien cleared up with the title company. So now you're like, okay, hot and ready. Let's close this deal. Let me get my little $2,400. Then this realtor that was representing the Philippine people said no.
No.
I mean, come on, dude. How'd you respond to that?
That's whenever I said, we've already gone out we've already gone out cost for the attorney. I'm not going to pay that, so we can just put a lien on the property
and jam it up.
So you can't do anything with it. But not only that, but I had the lien that they need to be able to sell it later on if they wanted to. Because that HOA, with how difficult they are, they're not giving another letter.
Sure.
So
your power of leverage here was, one, that you could put a lien on it because you hired an attorney. Mm-hmm. Two, you actually got the release done, or you got the documentation to file, but you didn't file it yet because you would have filed it at closing.
Yep.
Which is another little tidbit there, guys. When you negotiate and do deals, do everything all at once at closing. Don't try to file a document before closing unless you're trying to lock up a contract and kind of cloud the title, and don't promise or have someone say, "Hey, I'll file that or deed that into your name after we close." No, do it all at the same time.
All at the same time.
So now it's holding up. Now you have this release, and this joker says no. But you've already had how much did it cost you to hire the attorney?
$1,000.
So you paid $1,000 again out of your. Well, of course you just got paid $30, so you're living large anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm just so no big deal. So you're paying $1,000 to get $2,400. Man, I'm about to beat you up. So
I know.
Normally I would walk away. I'm like, but I like the tenacity, man, and that's why we have this episode today. Because I usually would have just bowed down. I'm like, F you, forget it. I'll just take the 30 and be content. And you said, no, I'm going to be a finisher, and you're going to close this deal. So, all right, so you call the attorney back, and you say, we need to force this contract. Well, how'd that conversation go?
It was fine because she sent a letter to the realtor that had to communicate with him, and the realtor was on my side. He told the guy, this thing's going to need $10,000 worth of repairs for you to do anything with it if this lady moves out.
And she's got money.
And she's got money. And it's like, why wouldn't you do this? And come to find out, he has some kids or teenagers that are going to be coming to the States soon for school and all that stuff. But he didn't communicate that with me. If he did in the first place, I would have dropped it and said, cool.
Yeah, because you really never wanted this dumb condo. I remember it's been a thorn in your flesh from the jump.
Yeah. But
even when we analyzed the whole project, it still was a smoking deal, even if we had to pay for the condo. Because even if you had to pay $10,000, you still would have netted 20,
give or take. Yeah,
right.
So,
plus, you had to share some of the love. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so how did it go down? She wrote a letter to the guy, and he bowed down. I'm like, what was that like?
He called an attorney here in Oklahoma to see if we had an argument, and we did, obviously.
Oh, so the Filipino guy,
yeah.
Or Filipino. He's not Filipino guy, sorry.
From the
but
Philippines.
Same thing, but he is now because he's married 50-50, whatever. But he didn't birth and get whatever. But you get me, folks. When I'm saying Filipino, just keep it this straight because Roger's a little all over the map here. So this seller decided to call someone locally, attorney himself, to verify, see if you got big balls. See if you really are playing games here. Mm-hmm. Impressive.
Yeah.
And so when he got smashed, that attorney called your attorney.
Yes.
And, of course, I know Jackie personally. She's one of my faves. She punked that guy.
Yes, she did.
She said, I'm ready to rumble.
Yep.
And so stalemate. And so he bowed down and advised the seller to say, hey, man, you need to sell this or it's going to cost even more money in legal battles. And it's jammed up. Title's clouded because now you have two. You have the actual HOA lien and
our lien. And
then the lien of the attorney.
Yep.
Wow. What a great story, guys, out there. Keep in mind, real estate is so fun. It takes a lot of twists and turns. But here's another key thing you need to do. Lock it up. Have power with documents. I love listening to Thomas Morgan. The power is in the paper.
Yes.
Power is in the paper. Power is in the lien. Power is in the judgment. Power is in, hey, we're not going to fund it until you release it. Mm-hmm. So what'd you learn? Is that it? That's the end of the story? Any more details that I miss out?
Not really. We finally closed on it, and I was so excited. Pam was even more excited. Kelsey was even more excited, for sure. So that was I'm taking them breakfast, by the way.
Yeah, give them some burritos. So tell us maybe a Filipino burrito if there is such a thing. Maybe some rice. So. Add some rice in there. Filipino rice.
I do like some sticky rice. It's good.
Yes, I do like rice. So what'd you learn from it? Would you do anything different in the future?
I don't know that I necessarily do anything different because the fact I like the challenge. It keeps it interesting for me. It's not the fact that I don't like low-hanging fruit, but for me, I want to do things that nobody else is going to do because they don't have the, as you say, tenacity to do it.
Yeah.
Because that smoke and deal might just cost maybe $500 to make 30. Who knows?
Well, and in the relationship, I'm assuming that this represented realtor is never going to forget you.
No, not at all.
And especially, I would assume, and I just hopefully I speak this out, that when this guy, because I get realtors that call me that have creative deals like Subject 2s, they don't wrap their mind around it. They're going to think of Roger.
Yeah, absolutely.
And since you have this attorney that is a creative attorney about real estate, that's very fascinating. So here's another quick question. So you've been doing wholesale kind of full time for about almost a year now.
Yeah, since the beginning of the year.
During this process, this was relatively new in your real wholesale deal. How many deals did you close during this whole several month process?
Since the beginning of the year, I've closed up 12.
Right, but during this, but I remember you locked this up relatively early, right? In the middle of those?
Yeah, I closed those up probably April.
Okay.
April, I think.
Wow. And so how many months did it take to do this from start to finish? Can you remember?
Till last week. So
April, May, June, July, April, May, June, July. So 4 months. And so it was worth it. Think about it. Let's just say you made $25,000. It's pretty good money.
Yeah, ain't bad.
All right. And you wouldn't have done anything different. You still would have fought the tenacity. Would you have called the attorney faster?
I don't think so. I think it was the right time to call her whenever I needed to.
All right. Awesome. Well, this is Roger Godwin's show today with the International 4 Deal of Tenacity. Roger, I don't know, how much I'm proud of you of fighting through it. A lot of people are willing to walk away and not learn something new. And it's only going to make you stronger on the next deal, and you'll get a big deal that has to have a lot of working parts, a lot of different elements, and I know that you're going to crush it and do well. I know that you're still looking for houses.
Always looking for
You're
houses.
looking for buyers and sellers. You will handle deals. I love that you've been mentoring a bunch of young wholesalers. You have a little sweatshop and you got them working, and I love that you split a lot of deals. How many? So you've done almost 16 transactions per se, right? Deals.
Yeah.
How many have they been with partnered on? I know we've done like 3 or 4 together.
Yeah, about 50-50.
So 50%. Excellent. And and that you just open up your network to other, like my network of the investors that I use, and man, you're on fire, and I'm just excited to see what you can do. Is there a way that people can get a hold of you? Phone number, email? I know you're working on your website.
Working on that.
So, hey, if you know any web designers that work real worthwhile price, like cheap, call this phone.
I need Steve numbers.
Yeah, you need trade out.
I need Van Callenberg numbers.
All right, so how can people get a hold of you? Just encourage you, build a relationship with you. We're Bird Dog for you. Learn from you. What's the phone number?
Yeah, 405-464-0411 is the number to get a hold of me. That's my personal number. You can get a hold of me anytime. And
text you too?
Text me.
Say it again. What's the number?
405-464-0411.
All right, and then an email?
Roger at wholesaleconsultingok.com.
Wholesaleconsultingok.com. Roger at wholesaleconsultingok.com. All right, well, this is your fabulous long-term Friday 30-minute deal. Hopefully it motivates you. Stick it out. Build relationships. Have a team. And whatever you do, the process of making this amount of money is for you to go buy assets and give it back. Thanks, Roger, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.